Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. I am Adam. We're back, and Manchester United have made a decision to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Yes, that's the news breaking through late this evening. Manchester United is going to come out as mutual agreement, but it's clear if we were sitting top of the league, this wouldn't be happening right now. The results have been abysmal. 4 defeats in the last 5 Premier League games. We obviously had that respite with the victory over Tottenham, but it's been horrible performances against Leicester, a Leicester team that were resoundingly battered by Chelsea and Arsenal. We were battered by Liverpool at Old Trafford 5-0. We all thought that would be the tipping point for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He was given more time by the board. We then saw that defeat against Manchester City at Old Trafford. It was pretty easy for City as well. The scoreline didn't really suggest how one-sided it was. We all thought that was the end of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but then he got until the end of the international break and this Watford game and a 4-1 defeat by a Manchester United side that were just abysmal, spineless, unorganised, lacked desire, heart, ambition, just anything. We try and look at performances and see at times whether players are playing for managers, and look, I think a lot of these players like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but that isn't enough. That isn't enough. You need to respect them and you need to be well drilled by them. And both of those things have been probably lacking in the last couple of weeks and months. And while I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, look, you can't really call Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a success at Manchester United if he hasn't won trophies. A successful Manchester United manager wins trophies. Do you know what I mean? But what I would say is that he's made our team a lot better than what it was. You know, when he came in, we were looking hopeless. We didn't have much of a squad. We needed to change a lot. The whole feeling around the club wasn't great. And he's moved the club in the right direction. But that's not enough. You know, just getting top 4 isn't enough for Manchester United. And yes, getting top 4 was important. Back-to-back top 4 finishes, great. But Manchester United need to be challenging for the league title. And this season, as a result of that, getting top 4 finishes, and as a result of the team, doing those things, we were able to get Sancho and Varane, and, we brought Cristiano Ronaldo in. But what happened with those signings was the expectation levels went up. The expectation went all the way up. We are now expecting to compete with Tuchel's Chelsea, to compete with Klopp's Liverpool, to compete with Pep's City, to compete in the Champions League. And so far this season, yes, we sit top of our Champions League group, but, even that's a little bit sketchy. So far this season, we just haven't looked like a team that's going to be challenging for those trophies. And it's not just the results, it's the performances that we're seeing. And there's so much going wrong at the minute. You look at the performances today against Liverpool, against City, even against Everton, Aston Villa. Like, the performances have been abysmal. There's been no cohesion. There's been no plan. There's been no link between the defence, midfield, attack. There's been no just idea, really. And we've had moments. We've had glimpses. We've had some... Yeah, but you'd expect that with the quality of players that we have. You'd also expect, when things aren't going right, try things differently. We seem to be always relying on the same players that keep letting us down. McTominay, Maguire, Fred. They keep playing badly, but they keep being rewarded with performances and selection every week. What does that say to some of those players sitting on the bench? What does that say to Donny van der Beek? What does that say to Eric Bailly? What does that say to Jesse Lingard? What does that say to those players that when these guys aren't performing and they're keeping a spot in the team, you guys ain't going to get a sniff? Then that spreads, obviously, more discontent around the team. And it's generally, been a happy place, Man United, apart from when we've failed to win semi-finals or a final. It's generally been a happy place under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It definitely has been amongst the fans going to games and things like that. But when the results aren't coming, and no one's being held accountable for performances, the manager's big players are letting him down. You look at McTominay and Maguire with the penalty and the red card today, and all those things are going on, and you're thinking, this ain't going nowhere but heading for a sacking. And I said it after the Everton game, it felt like Sevilla under Mourinho. Sevilla under Mourinho was a point where I thought, this is done now. We might get some time, we might get some grace period, but this isn't going anywhere. And it felt that against Everton. And he's never really rescued it since then. I think a lot of fans started, you know, even the fans, he's always been criticised by certain people, but generally speaking, a lot of fans then started to think, well, this is looking not good at the moment, and never really recovered. Never really recovered. The performances haven't got any better, and changed things up. You've got the likes of Sancho you've bought. Why aren't you using him? Why aren't you using him? Like, Donny van der Beek, you're saying all these things about him sitting on the bench, and some people say, oh, he must be rubbish in training or something, but whenever we see him come into the team, he shows more than I'm seeing from the other lot. Yet something's not quite right there, and you're looking around the squad and things ain't right. It hasn't been right, and this has been coming. And the decision's the right one. Who we get next, I don't know. That's the only thing that's probably delayed this decision from happening 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, is the fact that there isn't anyone screaming at you out there that give me this job. I'd like Zidane, I'd like Ten Hag, even like Poch still, but there's no one out there available screaming at you apart from Brendan Rodgers, because he's probably going to get sacked soon at Leicester, and I ain't quite fancying that one either. So that's the only thing that I think saved Ole so far this season, in the last couple of weeks and months. And if you're saying that, that's a bad... The only reason we haven't sacked you is because there's no one else available. That is a bad place to be in. A really bad place to be in. And it's not nice. It's sad. He's someone that's always going to be a legend of the club. You know, we'll look back and we'll remember some very good times. And, you know, I think he's improved some of the things at this club. But ultimately, it's a sad one when you've got to sack someone like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but it has to be done. Has to be done. And I remember saying it after the PSG game, and when we gave him the permanent contract, that I'm not quite sure about this. I'm not quite sure about whether he should be given this job, whether he's the man to bring home the Premier League and the Champions League. But one thing is for sure, I really hope he fucking does it. And unfortunately, he hasn't. I would have loved to see him bring home any trophy, but he has a League Cup. Anything. We got knocked out of that this season. So look, I think it's the right decision. I think it's a sad decision, sad day when it happens, but ultimately this team needs to be playing better football, and hopefully the next manager, whoever that is, comes in and is able to do that, because we've got a squad of players that is a lot better than the sum of its parts at the moment. And I think with the right coaching, the right manager, this is a team that can go somewhere. But also with the wrong decision next, and we've got some incompetence above the manager's head as well. With the wrong decision happen next, you're looking at a complete rebuild all over again in a year or two, and you're back to square one. Do you lose some of your prodigious talents? Like, it's a tricky place to be when you keep chopping and changing managers, but this is the right decision. We need to get the next decision right. I think Ole done a good job up until a point. Maybe that point was this summer. But yeah, time's time now, and we have to look forward, hopefully, with a new manager. But you're hearing at the moment that it's going to be Carrick and Fletcher, or Fletcher and Carrick, taking charge of the next. And I don't get that one either. Like, I know Fletcher's not part of the coaching staff, but this is all part of that regime. So why would you keep that around? I know you've got to have someone in place for the next game against Villarreal, which is quite quick in terms of a turnover, but why would surely you've got to have some plan. And again, I say it, because there isn't that option screaming at you in its face. It's probably why Ole's lasted so long, and it's probably why the next choice of manager could be, I don't know who it's going to be. Give it Zizou to the end of the season. Imagine it's Rodgers. I think he's a good coach, but oh no, not Rodgers at United. Oh, it's just a parody waiting to happen, isn't it? Anyway, it's happened. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Until next time, I've been AdamMcKola. I'm out of here.